Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another special, delicious list. And this time, I'm going to be talking about 2017, the upcoming year, giving you my 5 predictions for 2017. 2016 was one of the biggest years for the hobby ever. Arguably the biggest year for the hobby ever. More people are getting into the hobby. The hobby itself is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. There are more conventions, and most of the conventions are getting bigger. Games are becoming much more prevalent in pop culture. You go to Walmart now, you can go get tickets to Ride or Pandemic. Target was already leading that forefront, but it's only going to continue to keep growing. Maybe. Let's talk about my predictions for 2017. So, starting off with number 5, this one seems like an obvious one. But with the increased popularity of board games, there will be more video game and movie licenses coming out this year than ever. Last year we had Bloodborne, the card game. We had Big Trouble in Little China. You know, we got the standbys. We got the Fireflies and the Superman, the Batman, and the Walking Dead, all that sort of stuff. But I feel like it's going to continue to get even more saturated with big names. Now, I do worry potentially a little bit about this. I worry that it might get to a point eventually where if you don't have a big name strapped on it, that it could be a little bit more difficult to get the eyeballs on your game, especially with companies like Cryptozoic seemingly moving towards almost exclusively doing IP games. You know, they had Spyfall, but aside from that, they had Portal the game, they had Rick and Morty, they had 2 games from Rick and Morty, they had the Adventure Time card game, they got a Batman game, the Batman animated series game. It's slowly but surely creeping into it that more of the games you play are pre-established IPs. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I don't mind it, but some people probably do. But that's a prediction. I feel like that's a really easy prediction, so it's a little bit of a cheat. My number 5, there's going to be more video game and movie licenses coming out next year, but that's kind of a no-brainer. Moving on to my number 4, and this one is based on a little birdie that whispered in my ear. In actuality, this is just a straight-up guess, but I think Walmart is going to follow suit behind Target and get exclusive games. Walmart and Target are each other's biggest competitors, aside from obviously like Amazon, obviously. So it feels natural if Target's games are selling well, and when I go into Target, it looks like they're selling pretty well, especially their adult party games, that Walmart would want to jump on that ship. And I would not be surprised if Walmart started, say, exclusively signing games to be at Walmart's the same way that Target did as well. Now, do I think they're going to make as big a splash as Target did when they're like, we're snatching up all 40 of these games, these are Target exclusives? No, I don't think it'll be like that. I think it'll be much more subtle. But I do think Walmart has the money to potentially snatch up like a big title. Like, how crazy would it be if all of a sudden you could only get Pandemic at, say, Walmart or something like that? That obviously is not going to happen. But I wouldn't rule it out. I think there's the potential that Walmart could just put on the big boy pants and be like, we're hopping in this board games, ticket to ride, you want it, you got to come to Walmart. Either way, I do believe Walmart will get more into the board gaming hobby and potentially even sign some exclusives. So that is my number 4. So, number 3, expansions. I feel like expansions are flooding the market. And while I do love expansions, I love new games as well. And I feel like with Asmodee buying everyone, that expansions are going to become the new norm. We're going to see more expansions released in 2017 than I think any year ever before. That is a prediction that I'm willing to make. Here's my line of thinking. Asmodee likes to make money. Making new board games is not always a lucrative proposition. You are essentially gambling that your board game is going to be able to compete with the hundreds and hundreds of other board games released every single year. And that's not an easy thing to do. But on the flip side, let's say you already have a pre-established game, a game that is already immensely popular, that people really, really enjoy, then yeah, releasing expansion kind of seems like a no-brainer. And I feel like Asmodee is going to start moving that way, along with a bunch of other companies, to releasing a lot more expansions for pre-existing games. So there's a lot of different reasons for this. I'm not going to go into all of them. I think some games are kind of pushed out the door, maybe potentially a little bit too early to hit GenCon /Origins/Essen, and so expansions are the natural thing. There's also the Kickstarter factor, where with the Kickstarters, people are making the games, and then the games are getting big, and then they're releasing expansions with the game. So there might already be 2 expansions out for a game, despite the fact the game hasn't even made it to the friendly local gaming store itself. I just see more expansions in the future. Once again, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I don't mind it personally. I have a lot of games, so chances are, if there's a great expansion to a great game out there, then I might already have the game, but I still like original games. Like my top game of 2017 was Vast the Crystal Caverns. But with that being said, I am chomping at the bit for expansions for Vast the Crystal Caverns. So, good thing, bad thing, I don't know. You tell me what you think in the comments below. Hey, that rhymes, don't you know? I already said no. Crap. All right, so number 2, this one I am very intrigued in. So, I'm going to Gen Con, I think the last 5 years now. It's my favorite gaming convention in the world. This upcoming year, I'm hopefully going to both Origins and Essen. Super stoked about that. Fingers crossed for Essen. Origins will be happening. But one thing that I noticed this year was that Gen Con actually regressed a little bit. They had less people go to Gen Con. Now, there was more like people turnstiles, so people stayed there longer, but less people actually went to Gen Con. Now, there's a lot of different reasons that you might blame it. Some people that said they didn't feel safe because of our stupid governor, trying to screw over Gen Con and say, get the heck out of here, and then Gen Con almost leaving. Like, that whole big thing happened. And then some people they don't want to travel. One big reason that I think is going to slow down Gen Con and continue to slow down Gen Con is the fact that companies are soft releasing games at Origins. People are releasing these games in limited batches at Origins, so if you can get a bunch of hot games at Origins, why not save the money and go to Origins instead of going to Gen Con, the madhouse that is Gen Con? So, here's my number 2 prediction. I think Gen Con will once again continue to regress. I think they will have slightly less people than they did this year at Gen Con. I'm not going to guess turnstile or how all that stuff works, but I do think there will be less people this year at Gen Con. But I'm going to give you a special 2018 prediction as well, and actually predict that in 2018, that number will go back up once they get that new hotel that they're trying to build downtown built. Because I think that is another big problem that some people are having. Some people are like, if I can't stay downtown, I'm not going to Gen Con. And that's a lot of people, and that really surprises me. But I don't know. I guess I'm just not the right person to ask about it. I mean, I slept in my car at a truck stop and took a shower at the truck stop to go to Gen Con when I first came. So just being at Gen Con is super exciting for me. But I guess I could understand that. If you have to spend, hundreds of dollars on a flight and hundreds of dollars to go to Gen Con and hundreds of dollars to this and to that, and you don't have a car, you probably don't want to be at the mercy of Uber or buses or anything like that. So I guess I can understand it, but still, I'm rambling here. I think Gen Con will regress once again next year and have slightly lower numbers. Not huge lower numbers. I think board gaming is still booming. I don't think we're hitting the board gaming recession yet. But I still do think Gen Con's numbers are going to go a little bit down. And I think Origin's numbers are going to tick a little bit up. Despite the fact Origin actually went down a little bit this past year, attendance-wise, I think next year it will tick up. So, number 2, Gen Con regression, Origins grow a little bit. Number 1, I'm going to be talking about one specific game, and I think it will be the biggest game of the year. I think it will be the most hyped game of the year. I think it will be, across the board, the most popular game of the year, and I think it will be a game that people go mad for, and that is Charterstone from Stonemaier Games. This is also my most anticipated game of 2017. Now, many of you are like, what the heck is Charterstone? Charterstone is the legacy game that is going to blow everyone away. Now, people say Pandemic Legacy did it. I agree. Most people love Pandemic Legacy. I unfortunately did not. But I think Charterstone is the one that is going to just bust it out of its shell. I think there's 4 or 5 legacy games coming up this year, maybe even more. But I think Charterstone is going to be the one to get. 1 to 6 players. It's a worker placement game. It's developed by Jamie Stegmaier, who made Viticulture, absolutely amazing games. He runs his business the right way. Scythe came out. Scythe lived up to the hype, surprisingly, and I think this game is going to have a boatload of hype by the time it comes out, and everyone's going to go gaga for it. Legacy game, game of the year, my prediction at least, Charterstone from Stonemaier Games. But those are my predictions for 2017, what I think is going to happen. Let me know in the comments below, do you agree or disagree with any of mine? Or more preferably, actually, what's a bold prediction that you have for 2017? What's something crazy that you think is going to happen this next year? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.